once more. Don't build your house on the sandy land. Don't build it too near the shore. Well, it might look kind of nice, but you'll have to build it twice, though you'll have to build your house once more.
You better build your house upon the rock. Make a good foundation on a solid spot. Well, the storms may come and go, but the peace of God you will know.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our first celebration of this new school year. Those of you that are in school, pupils, you'll know that we have been having some of our collective worships in the hall. Lots of reasons why we're not having celebration in the hall at the moment, not least to do with it being the way really of Mr Stokes's PE lessons apart from anything else. And it's also really nice that you, if you're in celebration, if you're in the Excellence book, you can share that with your mums, dads, anybody else that you'd like to see the work that you've been doing. We thought this week particularly about what it means to be a school community. And we've got the things on the screen here that remind us our values, our kindness, respect and justice, and our school rules of acting kindly, speaking politely and doing the right thing. And we thought on Monday about the Bible story of the wise and the foolish builders, one who built their house really quickly on the sand and one who built their house much more slowly and carefully on the rocks. And then when the storms came, a bit like they've come this week, the house that was on the rock stayed really firm, whereas the one that was on the sand collapsed really quickly. We thought about how that gave us the foundations for life that you can see on the screen, our learning, for us as individuals, for our friendships, and obviously, really importantly, a good foundation for the environment that we can keep looking after that into the future. So that's some of the things that we're about as a school that make our school special. But I know in your classes you've been thinking too about what makes our learning special. And we've got these characters up on the screen. Those of you that have got the new Windows will notice you've got some of these characters in your classrooms as well. We've got the geographer on the left with the map and the compass. We've then got the mathematician and the artist, the athlete, the author, writer there with the laptop, and the scientist next to him. We've then got the author reader with that big stack of books from the library, and the philosopher, which includes things like our PSHE and our RE, our religious education. And then we've got our linguist, so those of you in Key Stage 2, you study French. We've got our engineer, and we've got a historian and a musician there on the end. And this week we've been starting to talk about what our learning might look like, thinking about it in terms of those characters. Now, some of you know this already, but I went into Breakfast Club on Monday where some people were making things out of Lego, and I asked, what are you doing? And they said very proudly, I'm being an engineer. And this morning I went back into Breakfast Club and somebody was making a big tower out of the Jenga blocks, and they were able to tell me all about how they too were being an engineer. And in fact, Reverend Ruth was in yesterday, and she told us that before she was a reverend, she was an engineer too. There seems to be an engineering theme going on here. Anyway, Miss Hodgson is not an engineer. Miss Hodgson is, like me, a geographer. We love our maps and our compasses, and I'm going to hand over to Miss Hodgson now to read to us from the Excellence book. So Miss Hodgson, over to you.
Good afternoon everyone, and thank you Mr Thorpe. Now I'm very sorry you couldn't see Mr Thorpe, probably best though really, isn't it? But it's nice to be able to see you from sitting at Mr Thorpe's computer. So it is my great pleasure to read from the Excellence book this week. Everybody has settled in brilliantly to this new year, but some children obviously have done that little bit extra and they're in the Excellence book this week. So we're going to start with our new Owls class. Now, sitting at Mr Thorpe's computer here is, before I was sat here, is Everywhere Bear. Now, he has been working in Mr Thorpe's office this week. He has also been sneaking up and down the corridor to check that all the children are working hard, and Everywhere Bear is very pleased to report that actually everybody in the school is working really hard, but he particularly wanted to mention Owls and say that they have settled in beautifully to our school, so very well done to you. He also made some phone calls from Mr Thorpe's telephone to children's mummies and daddies to tell them how well they were doing at school so far, and he said lots of really nice things to mummies and daddies, that everyone's doing really well. And then Everywhere Bear had to sit through quite a lot of meetings, which he did yawn a bit because they can go on for a while. And then to finish the day, Everywhere Bear did lots and lots of work on Mr. Thorpe's computer, and he didn't play any games. He worked really hard, got on with his work. So by the end of the day, Everywhere Bear was very, very tired, and he decided actually he doesn't want Mr. Thorpe's job because it's really hard work. But the most important thing that Everywhere Bear has to say is well done to ours class. You have settled into our school brilliantly, and we are very much looking forward to having you as part of our community. Moving on to Squirrels class now. Well done to all of you. You've been working brilliantly this week, but particularly well done to Isla. You have been a great geographer when looking at where you live. You've been able to draw and describe what your home looks like and your favourite room, which has a hammock in it. Lovely, that sounds great. And well done to George P. You have been a super scientist this week when looking at the body. You were able to label lots of body parts and tell us where your heart, lungs and ribs are located. Brilliant science skills there, well done. Now, moving on to year 2, you have been working really brilliantly with Miss Orphan this week, but particularly well done to Ava Grace for being a successful author reader. When you practice the reading skill of prediction, you use picture clues and your prior knowledge to make your predictions. Well done, Ava Grace, particularly for thinking about all the things you have learnt before. And there's your wonderful work there about the book on Sudden Hill. And also in year 2, well done, Rose W. For your inquiry this week, year 2 have been thinking a lot about friendship. And Rose was a successful philosopher by reflecting or thinking about when you have been a good friend. And you have shown that you really understand the school value of friendship. Well done, Rose. Also in year 2, very well done to Jack. This week in maths, year 2 have been working on your knowledge of place value and where digits go in numbers. Jack was a very successful mathematician this week by using your STEM sentences and referring back to what you have learnt in year 1. So building on all those things you did last year with Mr. Goldsack Marsh and making sure you get even better at your mathematician skills. Well done, Jack. Year 3, I know you've settled into your new class really well. Well done for all the hard work you were doing, but particularly well done to Chloe. You have been an excellent author reader and you have used super inference skills in your guided reading lessons. And there's your wonderful work there, Chloe. Well done to you. And Mason, you have been an excellent mathematician, clearly presenting accurate partitioning of 2-digit numbers. And there's your work there, Mason. Really neatly presented too. And well done, Arabella and Jude, for a super contribution to Year 3's discussion about the Lord's Prayer and careful presentation of the prayer. Excellent philosophy work. Well done to you too. And Year 4, Mrs. Story says that her class have settled in beautifully, so well done for all the work that you have been doing this week. But particularly well done to George K for being a fantastic and extremely neat mathematician. And also every time Mrs. Story has looked at you this week, you have shown her slant, which is all about being ready to learn, which is just as important as those mathematician skills. So that's excellent to hear, George. Well done. And Ollie, you have been a brilliant author writer. You took lots of notes during Year 4's interview with Mr. Thorpe and wrote them up to a super neat standard. So look at all that information you got about Mr. Thorpe there. Well done to you, Ollie. And Millie S, you have been really resourceful this week by using the base 10 equipment really sensibly to demonstrate your understanding on a number line. So good mathematician skills there, Millie. Well done to you. And Badger's class, your first day, I was with you last Friday. It was a really lovely day, which I really enjoyed, so looking forward to tomorrow. And I know Mrs. Turk has also had a lovely week with you. You are working really hard, but particularly well done to Alex for being an amazing listener. and showing respect to others by stopping work as soon as you're asked to stop, so you are ready for the next instruction and you know exactly what it is you have to do. Well done, Alex. And Millie, you have been a brilliant author this week. You have been writing in role as the main character in your inquiry book, The Promise, and you've thought about how that character would act and feel. So really good author skills there, Millie. Well done. And Jack, you have been a superstar helper this week, showing that you're growing in independence and taking responsibility for your work, and also helping with little jobs around the class. But what has really impressed Mrs. Kirk is that you have done those little jobs without being asked, just seeing what needs to be done and getting on and doing it. Well done, Jack. And well done also to Benji and Nathaniel for being excellent philosophers. We were thinking about what Christians believe God is like, and what was really impressive was you related those ideas to your excellent knowledge of Bible stories, all of those Bible stories that you've learned in worship and in class over the last years. You've thought really carefully about what that taught you about what God is like. Excellent philosophy work, Benji and Nathaniel. Well done to you. And moving on to year 6, Erin, you have been an excellent author. You have written a letter to Mr. Tatnall persuading him that you shouldn't be sacked. I should think not either. So well done, Erin, for using your skills of persuasion. Victor for being a superb mathematician and showing knowledge of number systems and the names of big numbers. Chloe, really nice to read this, that you have been a kind and supportive member of the class this week, showing our school value of kindness. Well done to you, Chloe. And Raf, you have been an excellent geographer, showing knowledge of the world's flags. Well done to dear class, who have also settled in really well this week. Lexia, very well done to everybody making the most of their Lexia licenses. Well done, Grace, Xavier, Jess, Layla, Toby, Kennedy, Alex and Elliot.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Miss Hodgson, for reading to us from the Excellence book today. Now, I don't know what was going on at the start because you couldn't see me, could you, for the first few slides? And then when Miss Hodgson came, you could then see, and I think you can probably still see me now, there's clearly some sort of gremlins in the computer. I'm going to blame Everywhere Bear, who was here at the start of the week. I think he's probably done something to one of the settings. Anyway, we can see Mr. Stokes on the screen here, and we're coming on to our sports star, or perhaps I should say our athlete of the week, and we give these awards for teamwork, encouraging, good attitude and making progress. Mr. Stokes hasn't yet taught Key Stage 1 because we had the staggered start last week, so we've got 2 awards for Key Stage 2, but Key Stage 1 you will be taught later this week, and then you'll be in next week's celebration. So the sports stars this week are both in Year 4. It's George K and Ollie P. George and Ollie have worked brilliantly together in PE this week and last week. Year 4 are focusing on passing and scoring in tag rugby, and the 2 boys demonstrated good control and even added in a fancy dive when scoring a try. They were very confident and demonstrated numerous activities in front of the class. So very well done to you boys. Now, we don't have any team point certificates to give out today because we've reset the system and we start again collecting our team points. We're all back on bronze for this new year, and we will very soon be giving out those certificates, I'm sure. One of the things we did mention, though, in collective worship the other day on Tuesday, and it's part of Newsday Tuesday, was we have temporarily appointed, I say temporarily, we have appointed some senior positions in Year 6, the prefects and so on. We're having a bit of a 3-week trial, see how we get on with the roles that we're currently fulfilling. And we talked a little bit about how that was a bit like the Conservative Party Prime Minister's election. And we talked about how that tied in with one of our British values. I don't actually have the slide on the screen today, but one of our British values, the value of democracy, where people get a say in how things are done. So Year 6, we're really looking to you at the moment to lead the school and to set the tone. And we've actually had a really fantastic start. Year 6, new positions this year of being involved in the dining room, helping out, and just raising the profile generally of the prefects and those senior positions. So we will be confirming those by the end of the month, and there's badges and things on order to make that all official. But thank you for all you've done so far in setting the tone of the school. Now, each term we have, as you know, something that we study in terms of our collective worship. This term we're thinking about something called the fruit of the Spirit, which is on the screen there. These values: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control. And we're thinking about generosity as well. So we're thinking about not keeping these things to ourselves, not keeping joy to ourselves, but being generous and sharing our joy with other people. Now this week, as I say, it has been slightly different because we've been thinking about our new curriculum and those characters. And we've got a quote to finish with from a scientist, a very famous scientist, Albert Einstein, who said the most important thing, is not to stop questioning. Don't think the author was very good there. The most important thing is not to stop questioning. And that's really important, that we keep asking those questions, particularly about our learning as we go through life. Now, on Friday last week, we did sing happy birthday to those of us that had our birthdays in the summer holidays. And also, I know some people have had their birthday this week as well. So we're going to finish with our birthday prayer for our friends. You might like to join in this prayer with me. And then after that, we're going to have the song Sandyland, which reflects our school vision, that story of the wise and the foolish builders and that good foundation for all of our lives. Thank you, Lord, for our friends on their birthdays. Keep them safe and fit and healthy. Help them to be kind. Give them happiness and fill
Take care, everyone, and stay safe.